Okay. Um, well, hello everyone. Welcome um, to our practice tonight. I'm Lama Rod, and for those of you who are new, um, I am here on Muskogee Creek, Cherokee land, in the city we call Atlanta now, and I'm happy to be with you. I've been on retreats, actually two retreats for a couple of weeks, for about 3 weeks now. So I'm happy to be back with everyone. And yeah, please continue to introduce yourself in the chat box. Um, and we'll get started in a second. And with our practice tonight, this is a guided practice. So I just kind of guide you through things. We're working with breath, visualization, energy, and connection to the Medicine Buddha tradition. Um, and what else? There are, I guess this is our 35th session. So there are 35, well, after tonight, there'll be 35 sessions in the recording. So if you want to go back just to the beginning of these sessions, we've been doing this practice on Monday night since the beginning of quarantine last year. So since I guess pretty much April. We started last April, and we've been going since then. So again, I'm really happy to be with everyone. Um, again, in this capacity, we also offer prayer requests. Also, write them to the chat box there, and I offer those prayer requests as we begin our practice, or somewhere in the practice is always different. Um, every um, every session is very different. I just literally just sit down and just open my mouth, and there's a practice, which is fun and lovely and all that good stuff. Um, what else? What else should be said? Um, there'll be the I guess the core of the practice will be the mantra. Tia Ta Un Bacon Say, Maha Bacon Say, Rata Sunum Gate Soha, which is essentially a prayer to Medicine Buddha for healing as well. And I'll be offering a series of lectures starting probably later next month around the tradition of Medicine Buddha, which will be a commentary on Trungpa Rinpoche's book. I have it. Where is it at? Um, well, it's the main book on Medicine Buddha by a great scholar named Trungpa Rinpoche, and I'll be offering commentary on that book, along with commentary that I've gotten from my root teacher over the years when he was alive about the practice. More information about that soon. So again, any prayer requests, you can start just adding those to the chat box here. Questions can be posted in the Ask a Question kind of section, which should be at the bottom of your screen. So any questions about practice should go there so I can see them. And I often answer those at the end of practice. We'll go no later than 8:30. Um, Sometimes we stop a little early. And while people are here getting ready for practice, I just want to remind everyone that I do have a one-day retreat, online retreat, coming up this Saturday. And you can go probably to my website. As you can probably tell, I don't ever look at my website. I have other people do it, but all the information is on my website, and you can sign up for that. It's the Holiday Frolic one-day retreat. And it's really about like getting through the holidays. This is again our second holidays in the pandemic, and this kind of gets it's kind of wearing a lot of us down on top of like the holidays being traditionally just tough to begin with. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's see what else. Thank you for the prayers. Please continue to add those right in. Uh, so I see a question here in the chat, so maybe I'll take a look at that. And the question here is from Remy. Can I talk about the body and fear in relation to practice? Yeah, I'm not for sure like what the context is or like specifically what you want me to talk about. Um, I mean a direct reflection towards. Can you talk about the body and fear in relation to practice? I'll just go with some of the things that are just coming off the top of my head. Um, in terms of fear, yeah, I think overall, like when we talk about practice within this context, like, a liberatory context, a contemplative context, I think so much of this really is about working with the ego's fear of being recognized, of being seen, right? And that's going to produce a lot of fear and anxiety, right? Because the ego is thriving from our belief in its realness, right? The sense of self, right? And this sense of self is just these collections of perceptions and ideas and thoughts and narratives that we bundle together to create this self where we say, well, this is me, this is who I am, right? The goal of these practices, particularly practices like Medicine Buddha, is actually about learning to understand and to be in relationship with the illusion of ego. So we're not trying to get rid of ego. We're trying to disrupt this belief that the ego is real, the sense of self is real. Once we understand that, that's considered often a major sign of enlightenment when you begin to see the illusion of ego. You're not trying to get rid of ego, right? But we're trying to see the illusion. We're trying to see the illusion of everything, all phenomena. The body holds a lot of that energy of fear, of anxiety, of aversion. This is what fear is. Aversion is our anxiety, about the future, about what's happening next, right? So it's in a very real way, fear is about living outside of the moment. If we're living outside of the moment, then we're also living outside of the body, right? Living in the future, right? We're mentally in the future and not grounded in the present moment with the body. And that's like fear, what we're doing in practice is consuming the fear. I guess in every practice, right? But to consume the fear means we begin to name the fear and we offer the fear space, right? And in that space, we have this incredible opportunity to begin to recognize also the illusion of fear, that fear in itself is just a thought, too, right? It's just a thought. So I hope that was helpful in terms of the practice. So if you're just coming into the space, we're just getting ready for practice, and we're adding our prayer requests and adding questions. Um, and we have a few more minutes as people. It takes a minute for everyone to kind of get in and get their prayer requests up. I love to have all the prayer requests going and up before I start the practice. So I'm doing just a few more minutes. When the body doesn't feel safe, how to approach practice. Well, when you name that the body is experiencing it's not experience when you feel as if your body isn't experiencing, or when you're experiencing a lack of safety in the body as you're approaching practice, if you're aware of that, then you are practicing. Now you're doing the practice that you were intended to do, no, but you're doing the core practice, which is awareness. So I think sometimes when we're like, okay, I'm going to do this practice and we can't do it because an obstacle arises in terms of fear or an emotion, you just adjust your practice to say, oh, I'm just going to pay attention to this. I'm going to name this fear, right? And in naming it, you begin to take care of it, and that's practice, essentially. There's another question here. I did some work with plant medicine this past weekend and was visited by my uncle. I was able to understand that he is guiding and supporting me in ways I wasn't aware of before. Do you have thoughts and practices that can help deepen my relationship with him? Yeah, just know that he's there. Right, just develop a deep, it doesn't even have to be faith anymore because you have direct data. You have evidence that he's with you. And just developing deeper confidence, knowing that there is someone there. I mean, it's lots of people, it's lots of beings around you, as there is with everyone, right? And so it's not just your uncle, but there are a lot of beings helping you, and that's something to kind of celebrate, right, and to be grateful for. So just deepening confidence. And in your uncle being with you and feeling that kind of care that's being offered. That's it. That's really it. Knowing that he's walking with you, he's with you in tough situations, and really, like, if there are things that you need, asking. Our guides have incredible agency to make certain things happen, and so rely on that, I'm gonna do this one last question, then we'll start moving towards practice. I've been doing more regular grief work since the grief course ended with you. I was doing a little secret grief course for about 2 months that really wasn't public, but it'll be public maybe next year when I do it again. In any case, sometimes I have difficulty figuring out how much grief practice to do in one day. If I do too little, I sometimes have trouble sleeping. If I do too much, sometimes it lowers my mood. Do you have any suggestions about knowing how much grief practice is enough? This is a really good practice question, because this is a situation where we actually have to really experiment with what's enough, and that's different for everyone. It's so different. There's some people who don't need to do a lot of practice. There's some people who need a lot of practice, and also depends on the practice. So this is something that you have to really just keep experimenting with, like finding that middle way that works for you. And this, you're just collecting data, like when you do too much practice one day, then you notice how much was done, and then you just incrementally pull back a little bit, and then see at the end of the day, what the impact was, and then you get to that place as well, where it just becomes right. But we always have to remain sensitive to things. Causes and conditions are shifting, always shifting. So we always have to be sensitive that, like, what worked yesterday may be different the next day. As always, like, letting our benefactors, letting the earth, hold grief, letting Medicine Buddha hold grief, right? We are disrupting self-identification with the arising of grief, or at least self-identification with anything that arises, that everything is just an experience. That's not inherently who we are. If you have more questions, feel free to post those, and I'll try to get to those at the end of our session. So we're still, even though we've been off for a couple of weeks, I'm still really interested in this idea of abundance in the practice. And still continuing with this fall. Now we're in this hemisphere, moving towards the solstice, beginning of the winter. And of course, that energy is a shifting. I know it's different. I know everyone's coming in from different parts of the world, so it's different seasons. But winter, becomes a time of shutting down, hibernation, right? Of course, the light has changed, so it's darker earlier, and this is about deep reflection, inwardness. This is about preparing, in a way, in a grander way, it's about death, right? It's about death, a dying, and then spring being about awakening and resurrection. So what are we going to let pass on as we enter into the winter? What needs to be offered? What needs to be let go of? So the fall and this kind of harvest and abundance theme that we've been working on, it's about gathering all the resources you need. It's gathering the energy and all the resources together in order to enter into this deep kind of hibernation, letting go, right? Well, so often in our lives, like, we just kind of push through. Because of technology, like, we're not living in this pre-industrial age, like, where if the sun went down, you go, you go to bed, But now we have technology, and we have different busy lives. Like, we have created lives which are in antithesis to the natural cycle and order of the natural world, which is partially why we're in climate instability, because we've lost contact with the natural cycle of the phenomenal world, of the natural world. And so much of what's going to save us is a returning back to these natural cycles, to live with the land, to live with the climate, right? To live with the changing of the seasons. As I said before, when I was sitting 3-year retreat, it was the first time in my life where I paid attention to the changing of the seasons, primarily because I didn't have anything else to do. I mean, of course you were practicing, but the practice was about awareness, right? And so you just become aware. And I became ultra sensitive to transition of seasons. It was really stunning and beautiful, right? And I lived through, at least three cycles of seasons. I spent 3 springs. We had 3 springs, and 3 of the other seasons, right? Because it was almost 3.5 years of retreat. And just to sit through the cycles and to understand how the body changes, right? Because we had very little technology, in retreat. We barely had heat. And I was just so appreciative to have that opportunity just to sit and feel the changing of seasons, the cycles, right? The cycles. Cycles are always happening in our lives, in our bodies, in our minds. And of course, there's all kinds of, right, drawbacks to entering into the winter, right? Because of the lack of sun and light and the cold, if you live in a colder climate. It's the changing of energy. That's all about the changing of energy, the energy pulling us inward. And a lot of us, don't want to do that inward work, right? Not us, and maybe in this space, but I'm talking about just in the world, like with folks, like it takes a lot of courage to turn our attention inward. So, alas. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. Looks like everyone has posted their comments. And again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and post those, and I'll get to those after practice. So to begin with, as always, allowing our bodies to come into a position that feels appropriate for us, right? Of course, this is the great thing about being online right now. It's like you can just do whatever you want, And I want to start as we move into our practice. I just want to start with the gratitude practice. Let's take just a few moments, right, to reflect on all the kindness and labor that's been offered to us today or at any point, that has been about our welfare, our health, our happiness, maybe even things that happen today. Contemplating that we could never be here in this moment without the kindness of beings, unseen beings, right? Our guides, our protectors, our ancestors, the deities who are protecting us and guiding us, right? All the people who, are just, in positions that are about providing, resources for people to survive, that we all are part of that. We're both offering these resources and we're consuming these resources as well. And as I deepen my reflection around gratitude, I like to imagine that this energy of gratitude begins to awaken in my heart center. And that's energy that begins to kind of move through and circulate through the body. So my body becomes activated through this energy of gratitude. And of course, gratitude is an expression of care, love, right? It's the recognition that we are the recipients of deep love and care from others. And you can imagine that this energy is like white light that begins to move through the body, or just warmth. Right now I'm feeling it as warmth moving through my body, beginning here in the heart center. Just a few more moments here. And now, moving deeper into the practice, we're going to shift our attention down to the earth again. So we're going to get there first by slowly shifting our attention to notice the weight of our bodies. When you notice the weight of your body, also notice the sensation of our bodies making contact with the seat under us. So the weight of our bodies and the sensation of our bodies on our seats, that is an expression of earth energy, of the earth element, solidity, foundation, heaviness, groundedness, foundation. Those are the energetic expressions of earth, along with other energies like fertility and richness, right? Stillness. And when you're ready, shifting your attention even lower and imagining that your attention, like this energy of knowing, right, of consciousness, begins to touch the energetic expression of the earth under you. And this can feel very abstract as well. So one way, something that can guide us in this practice is essentially to say, as you're like attempting to like touch your, to allow your attention to kind of touch down into the earth, at some point you say, oh, I am touching the energy of the earth, right? So instead of wandering around or looking for, a sensation or looking for some sign, we can just say, oh, my attention is touching the earth now. And that brings your attention into alignment. But then for some of us, when we touch the earth energetically through our attention, then we can feel the energy. Like in my practice, I can just feel the energy of the earth meeting my attention as I touch down through it. And you can introduce yourself to the land, like to the land that you're practicing on and living on right now. And you can reflect on the indigenous history of the land, reflecting on who took care of the land and the civilizations that lived on the land, the civilizations that were impacted by colonialism, systems of violence. Giving name to that, just naming that I live on land, that is unceded and was unceded by indigenous communities. Not all of us are living on unceded land, as we're coming from different parts of the world. And even if you're here in this country, it doesn't mean that the land is unceded, but mostly it's unceded. And when you're ready, beginning to share this energy of gratitude down into the earth, as if you're trying to fill the earth with this energy of gratitude. Just another few moments here as we prepare to move on. And so when you're ready, I invite you to shift your attention to your breath if your breath is accessible. If your breath isn't accessible, just return to offering gratitude down to the earth and I'll come back and get you. But if your breath is accessible, shift your attention to your breath, just noticing the in-breath and the out-breath to begin with. And just one more breath. And then taking an inhale. When you exhale, allow the exhale to gently guide you down to the base of your spine. And that's the root chakra. Right? And the root chakra is an energy center that connects us to the earth. It's the center, energy center of home, of groundedness. So often when we're feeling uncomfortable in certain places, it's related to the root chakra. But bringing your attention to that root chakra, which is just at the base of the spine, I want you to imagine that you're breathing in and out of that chakra at the base of the spine. So as if you're inhaling into the chakra and you're exhaling from the chakra. I'm going to take it a step further. And for those of you who weren't with the breath, I invite you to come back in. And so if you're using the breath, want you to imagine that as you inhale into the root chakra, that you're inhaling from the earth energy. And that earth energy can be however you identify the earth energy. I am working actually with the stillness of the earth tonight. So I'm inhaling this energy of stillness into the root chakra, right? And if you're not working with the breath, just imagine that the root chakra is absorbing the energy that you're working with from the earth tonight, right into the root chakra. So again, the energies can be stillness and stability and foundation and groundedness, however you want to name the energy of the earth. Just beginning to inhale or allow that energy to be absorbed into the root chakra. And just practicing this for a few moments. So we're going to add just one more, well, another layer to the practice. So as you're inhaling or absorbing this energy of earth into the root chakra, I want you to, after a full kind of absorption inhale, hold your breath and that energy in the root chakra. Just for a couple of seconds, or you can go longer if you want, but please be careful. And when you exhale, imagine that you're exhaling that energy up to the heart chakra, to the heart center right here. So where that energy actually begins to be absorbed into this energy center associated with empathy, love, compassion. So you're infusing this energy with the energy of the earth, and it's already been awakened through the practice of gratitude. Okay? So again, inhaling, absorbing the energy of the earth into the base of the spine, the root chakra, holding the breath there for as long as you wish to, and then exhaling that energy up into the heart center. All right, so let's practice this for a few moments. Okay, about 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, we're going to go just a little further. So when you release that energy into the heart center, slowly the heart center, the heart chakra, becomes fuller and fuller with this energy from the earth, and slowly that energy from the heart center that's heavy with this energy of the earth begins to circulate through the body. It begins to radiate throughout the body. So it's like, you can imagine like, just like, I don't know, the sun awakening in the heart center, being fueled by the earth, right? And then that sun just radiating this light of earth energy throughout the heart, which is, again, the energy that you're identifying. Be it stillness, stability, sustainability, richness, or what have you. And in a way, the body begins to awaken. And without having to like visualize or imagine Medicine Buddha, we're beginning to awaken the consciousness of Medicine Buddha within our experience. And we'll go ahead and kind of put our mantras up. So we'll start slowly moving into our mantra practice as we continue developing the practice. And also the other mantra, our opening mantra, which is Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Right. So again, just like, and at any point you can let go of holding the breath in the root chakra, right? And you can just send that energy from the earth directly. So you can inhale directly from the earth up through the body into the heart center and allow the heart center to start radiating this energy in the body. And these are the blessings, right, of Medicine Buddha, this awakening, this expanding, connecting to the natural healing capacity of the earth. And we begin with our shorter mantra, Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha, which is, O Medicine Buddha, please know me, think of me, hold me, care for me. Kino, I invite you to translate in any way that feels appropriate. What do you need from Medicine Buddha right now? Is the question. Do you need Medicine Buddha to think of you, to see you, to heal you, right? To hold you, to care for you? What do you need? So, Mela Sangye Kino Soha. We're going to chant it just a few times. As we chant this begins to actually ignite, even awaken more this energy of the earth, and becomes this energy of the earth that we're circulating in our bodies. The mantra helps to awaken that energy even more deeply, even more profoundly. All right, and we'll begin. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Om Mela Sangye Kino la sangye kino soha. So we've awakened just a little more the energy of earth inside of us, tuned it towards this consciousness of medicine Buddha. And slowly we can begin to imagine that we actually begin to radiate outwardly this energy, this awakened energy of the earth, this consciousness of medicine Buddha. Our bodies begin to glow and radiate this healing, stable, foundational energy around us. And we can even begin to imagine that we're radiating so much that the spaces that we're in begin to be filled with this light, this radiance. And this radiance actually begins to bless, right, our spaces. It begins to dissolve any negative energies in our space. As we began our main mantra, we're just practicing continuing to absorb and hold energy from the earth into the heart center, allowing the heart center to radiate through the body, and allowing the body, because it's getting so full of this profound energy, is beginning to radiate around us. Like we're becoming stars, you know. Maybe not like Lady Gaga, right, or Beyonce, but like we're becoming bright, like the North Star, like Tara. Right? We begin to radiate and, you know, this experience of darkness, right? We're letting our little light shine. And just practicing this, resting within this radiance. And this is what we're going to be doing for the first part of our mantra practice, resting within the radiance. Right, within this abundance of healing energy. Okay? So we begin. Oteya taum begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa supunga tesoa. Oteya taum begenze, ma begenze, rasa supunga tesoa. Oteya taum begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa supunga tesoa. Oteya taum begenze, So as we move into the second half of our practice, or the next section of our mantra practice, we're going to imagine, as I begin, I'm going to start offering the prayers. And as I offer prayers, I want you to imagine that your radiance begins to be directed into the situations of those we're offering prayers for, just like sending that energy of healing, stability, groundedness, removal obstacles, that basic energy into the situations of those we're offering prayers for. Right? You don't have to know who people are or anything. Just imagine that this radiance begins to be directed into their lives, into their situations, into sickness, illness, or transition, or whatever it may be that we're praying for. Okay. So again, I call on the attention and the power and force of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Dharma protectors, all benevolent deities, spirits, saints, angels. I call on all the elements, right? I call on all enlightened beings to hear our prayers and to act on our behalf, to bring about specific causes and conditions needed to alleviate suffering. For all those we're offering prayers for. And we offer prayers for my friend's father who just received a cancer diagnosis, for my friend living with and going through the second round of treatment of cancer. Prayers for continued courage and softness in my heart and words and actions. We're offering prayers for Amanda struggling with trauma and resentment. We're offering prayers for several friends with major health issues, for Sue-Ann Sneeden, for Sherilyn Pitt, for Shaba Bailey, for my daughter and chronic jaw pain, and navigating the territory of services for her son with autism, for our whole family to help each other with love and understanding. Offering prayers for my grandma during her second round of cancer treatment this month. Prayers for all sentient beings and everyone struggling with mental health. We're offering prayers for every living being's inner child or children. May clarity, agency, love, and connection reach us all. Prayers for love. May we all observe, nurture, and deepen the people and world around us. Offering prayers to students and parents in Oakland County, Michigan. Prayers asking for a deep healing with my neighbor who was very angry with me about our differing beliefs about the COVID vaccine. Offering prayers for Betty's mom's starting chemo today for stage 4 cancer. Offering prayers for clarity. Offering prayers for Marina. May she discover greater agency and give herself the same love and care as she does so many others. We're offering prayers for everyone experiencing grief, loneliness, and re-traumatizing during this season. Prayers for my son who has COVID and his birthday. Prayers for Katie whose husband died unexpectedly and their 11 and 14-year-old daughters. Prayers for my Dharma sister as she seeks justice and healing for her son. Offering prayers for the people on the Sumas First Nation who are recovering from flooding and for all who are grieving the effects of climate change. Offering prayers for my grandson Charlie, age 9, who has COVID. Offering prayers for myself as I navigate some trauma-based emotions. Prayers for my partner as he struggles with a new job. Prayers for all people who are denied reproductive freedom by repressive governments. Prayers for my mother who is coping with depression and isolation, and for my mother-in-law who has Alzheimer's. Offering prayers to the ancient mother showing us the way. Offering prayers for myself, Shelley, as I process and heal PTSD. Offering prayers for healing from my ancestral lineage and ease in my body while I heal and sort through trauma. Offering prayers for Asanda on the death of her baby's father. Prayers for Rethabal who has lost his father. May they feel love and care in this moment and in the days to come. Prayers for Lenore who is exhausted from taking care of her husband who has cancer. Offering prayers for Lapita and her 15-year-old son Angel who is suffering from drug addiction. Offering prayers for all who, like them, who suffer on the edges of globalized systems of oppression. Offering prayer requests for my Uncle Murray and Aunt Gail who both passed suddenly last week. Prayers for myself as I navigate. Prayers for Angela as she begins treatment. Monica as she continues rehabilitation. Prayers for my father as he heals, and for my mother. We're offering prayers for my father, Julian Harmon, who passed on December 1st. May his spirit know freedom and be carried to peace. And also extending prayers to heal the rifts in the family he left behind. Offering prayers for my friend Laura and her mother Jane, anxiety and depression struggles. Offering prayers for Andrew, my friend, prayers for my mom who is still in deep grief after the death of my dad. Offering prayers for my cousin Milton, who left us on Friday. Offering prayers for Claudia, who begins chemotherapy tomorrow. Prayers for everyone who does not have a place to stay tonight. Offering healing prayers for my relationship with my son and his wife. Offering prayers for 33-year-old Noah suffering from cancer all over his body, and Caroline from brainstem cancer, and also for Afghanistan. Offering prayers for my sister Nan as she continues to recover from surgery, and for my own mental health and resilience. Offering prayer requests for our family as we grieve Sonny's death yesterday. Offering prayer requests for Falcon Collective as we grieve the loss of our neighbor, Lydia. Prayers for Lydia Maria Velez as she transitions through the bardo. Offering prayers for Erica and Eli in finding a new place to live. Prayers for Noni, her health, and the health of those she lives with. Prayers for myself as I work through some sickness. Prayers for my siblings as they navigate young adulthood. Offering prayers for all those incarcerated and for their families. Offering prayers for my childhood bestie Angel Brooks and her family, who didn't survive cancer as she makes her transition into the bardo. Prayers for myself and my family after losing my dad suddenly to a rare illness. Offer prayers also for my uncle Daniel, who will be having major heart surgery next week. I continue to offer prayers for Erica. She continues to recover from surgery. I continue to make prayers for healing and sustainability for all those connected to me as we move deeper into the season. And I continue to make prayers for the disruption and the liberation of all beings from systems of violence, exploitation, and marginalization, that all these systems are eradicated. I pray for the liberation of all beings, that all beings may have everything that they need to experience safety, happiness, belongingness, community. May all beings crossing into the bardo spirit world be supported and blessed and guided. May they continue their journey towards higher states of awakening. And I lift up all prayers that remain unspoken, unarticulated. May all beings have what they need. May all beings experience the deepest, most profound, fiercest love, and may we all get free as quickly as possible. So as we move into the second half of our mantra, I invite you to continue to offer this healing energy, this radiance from our bodies into the situations, circumstances of those we've offered prayers for. And also, you can also imagine radiating light into the bardo, into the spirit world, to illuminate the passage of beings into a formless experience. We begin again. 우체야 자음 백연세 백연세 마백연세 란스 수문가 제소아 제야 자음 백연세 백연세 마백연세 란스 수문가 제소아 제야 자음 백연세 백연세 마백연세 라자 수문가레 소아 제야 자옴 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 백연세 마백연세 라자 수문가레 소아 대야자원 백연세 근세 마하백연세 라스수명가를 좋아 대야자원 백연세 백연세 마하백연세 라스수명가를 좋아 대야자원 백연세 백연세 마하백연세 라스수명가를 좋아 대야자원 백연세 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 라스수명가를 좋아 대야자원 백연세 백연세 마하백연세 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 tesoa. Teha taum begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumunga tesoa. Teha taum begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumunga tesoa. So slowly we begin to bring our attention back into the space, back to the seat, and slowly we can start letting go of any visualization, returning to a normal breath, noticing the weight of our bodies making contact with the seats. Maybe taking a few deep inhales and deep exhales, releasing anything that maybe feels heavy or any kind of strong energy maybe that's crept into the practice, just releasing that in the out breath. Making a final prayer and aspiration of all those we prayed for and offered healing energy to. May all the conditions and circumstances come together that they may experience freedom from everything that they're experiencing, peaceful transitions into the bardo, and that they may have all the resources they need in order to continue the work of liberation. Now we turn our attention to our last prayer, to slowly begin to wrap up our practice. And this is Shanti Deva's prayer that you can find in the chat box now. We're going to recite this 3 times. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. And just like space and all the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader to those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor, may I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. thank you all so much for your practice tonight. And just one last comment. It would be great to have a class on how we can hibernate together. Our culture does not do that, and we need to help it do it together. I agree with that. Let me see. There's something else I was going to mention. So with this question, the question from Noah about your uncle, and this is a good thing for me just to kind of share with everyone. One of the things that we can learn to do is to understand how our guides, and ancestors are communicating with us. And this is a process of like beginning to become aware, really of how communication is happening. Like it's as simple as like asking your guides to communicate with you, to get your attention. And when you ask that, then pay attention to what's happening. Do you feel a certain kind of sensation, be it mental, physical? Is there energy that shifts around you? Are there thoughts that come up? Just pay attention to everything that arises. And I think slowly, if you're really training in that, you'll learn how to start directly communicating with your guides. With my guides and ancestors, sometimes, just normal, everyday, going through life, I can directly communicate, and sometimes like through words, like I'm getting words back, and sometimes I can even, at other times, the communication is happening through certain perceptions, and feelings, like if I'm being guided to do something, I'll definitely experience aversion towards something that's beginning to lead me in another direction. So I've learned how to pay attention to that. And of course, when you're using plant medicine, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have direct access to your guides. Everyone with plant medicine, it also depending on of course, the plant medicine you're using and allying with, rather. There are certain things that certain plant medicines do and don't do. Also, this also depends on our own natural capacities. So some of us, have different capacities for different work. Like some of us, I'm talking when we're using plant medicine, right? That some of us have a natural talent for healing. So that's where we go. Our energy work, our spirit work. I call it spirit realm work, and so forth and so on. There's all kinds of manifestations that can happen for us. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with everyone. The retreat this Saturday. I think it will be loads of fun. I'm sorry we can't do it in person. We usually, up until last year, we would have our Bhumi Sprasha retreat in December in person, but hopefully, I don't know, who knows what next year is going to bring, but hopefully we'll be back. And I think that is about it on my end. So thank you, everyone. We'll be back Monday, and I hope to see everyone, or some of you, on Saturday practicing with me. If not, I'll see you back next Monday. All right. Thank you, everyone. Please take care of yourself, and I'll be with you again sooner than later, I guess. Okay. All right. Bye.